Raj Kotecha for youtube.com/MediaTechSocial. We are still exploring really big themes here at Web Summit 2014. And one of them is, of course, the way parents look after their children's engagement on mobile devices and usage. And this is a really interesting startup coming out of Dubai, which is called Nischint. I'm here to talk to Raghav about the app. What's the app called, Raghav?
It's the app itself is called Nischint. Nischint is a Hindi word which means carefree. And what more applicable than to parents? So we all need to be carefree. And the whole idea came up from the fact that what happens when your child goes online. When he goes cycling, what do you buy him? A helmet, a kneecap. When he goes for his first baseball lessons, a helmet, a gloves. But what happens when you get him a first smartphone or a first tablet? And that's where we step in, giving parents the right proactive tools to set up the right policy on your child device.
So you're talking about parents being able to monitor and restrict what a child's smartphone can do for the child's own good.
Yes, absolutely. But we do it very differently.
Let's look at some of the features.
Yeah. So if you can zoom in, yeah. So we inform very non-intrusively in a dashboard format what are the alerts your child has done. So let's say, for example, you've set up a safe zone for him, which our application allows, and he crosses that, there is an alert. If your child device is on critical battery or is switched off, we send you an alert.
Right, so let's go over the safe zone thing real quick. So the safe zone is, you'll need the mic, but the safe zone is if your child is in a geographical area that is not their school, their grandparents' house, or any friend's house, then you will know using the geo data from your child's phone.
Yes, absolutely. So if you see here, this is the safe zone. I have set, this is my child, he's in India. I have set 3 safe zones for home, a school, and grandparents' house. You can see the list of safe zones here. You can dynamically change your safe zone wherever he has. So let's say he has soccer classes, and you want to set it up on the field, you can do that. So, and whenever he moves out of the safe zone or comes back into his safe zone, there is an instant alert. We send an SMS, we send an email notification plus within the app. So all basically from a proactive protection perspective, all the tools are there handy to a parent wherever, whenever.
What about the child's use of things like apps like WhatsApp where they browse, other things like that?
Yeah, so what we've developed, that feature is called application management. Now, what that does is that it lists out all the applications that are there on a child device. Now, we know how people or kids are addicted with Angry Birds and a Candy Crush and things like that, and which distracts focus. So you can take up a feature, block it. Not only block it, you can set up multiple schedules for blocking. So if you see, I've set up schedules when it's going to be blocked and when he can use it, ensuring that at times of usage, he can enjoy the best, but let's say when he has to go out to play or in school hours, he doesn't misuse the device. So that's what we do with application management. We also help have mapped 3.7 million websites into 27 categories. And you can block categories which are objectionable. What you can also do is, there are a zillion others which we have not been able to map. You can customize and block a particular website which is not useful.
This works on Android and iOS, right?
Yes.
So what about, how did you manage to kind of get that data, the usage data, out of one iOS device, which is normally quite a closed system, and into another iOS device?
Okay, iOS has some features, and there are certain features which Apple doesn't allow. But something like GPS fence, they allow. Website filter, they allow. So we totally support whatever the device manufacturer or operating system limitations are and develop accordingly.
How does one iPhone have authority over another iPhone's browser? Like, how does that technically happen?
Basically, this is intended for use for 8 to 18 for minor kids. As a parent, there's a 2-step process to install. You register yourself, you install the application on your child device. Once you install it, we send you a passcode. Passcode is like an ATM pin. You put your ATM pin or a passcode and then customize and change your passcode. And that's how basically the application is installed.
So if I'm a child with an iOS phone and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I've left school, I've got to do 2 hours homework. Using your iPhone 6, you can turn WhatsApp off on my iPhone 6 on my home screen.
Yes, absolutely.
Jesus, that's amazing. That's pretty powerful. But my next question is, have you thought about long-term or done any investigations into how a child would be raised knowing that their device, their whereabouts, their usage is all being monitored not from a technical point of view, but more from a mental point of view? Because I would say we've already had a 5-year stretch of kids doing whatever they want with smartphones.
You hit the nail on the head. And that's why one of the biggest features that we have of our application, it's a transparent. So this is the child device, by the way. There's a shout out button. Shout out button is your emergency button to reach your parent in case of any untoward or any extreme situations. And you have something called active services. So you can see all the services that are being tracked by a parent and the ones that are not. So if you see this red one, that means phone calls are not being tracked. And that's why we are saying that we understand the need of every parent and every child. Let's say you can have an open, transparent conversation. Yeah, Dad, please, no phone calls, no SMSs. If you want to know where I am, I'm okay with it. And think of it, how many times it has happened? I'm sure your mom calls or my mom calls. I'm what, 32? My mom calls me first thing, where are you? I mean, God heaven's sake, where can I be? So that's the crux of it. We make the entire process of using a parental guidance application transparent between child and the parent. So there can be just an open discussion, right? Okay, fine. You don't want to see my images, you know, where some of them can be whatever. So don't see them. That's fine. Yeah.
What about? So where did this idea come from? Was it yourself trying to create something for your kids? I know you've got quite a few people in your team here.
That wasn't really the start of it. The internet crimes. Pick up today's newspaper. You'll find an internet crime by a child. Children committing suicide over Facebook. They're scary things, you know. What I see is that we are digitally adaptive. Our kids, my 5-year-old is smarter on an iPad than me. Our kids are digitally native. And putting them off to so much exposure gives us a kind of responsibility that, you know, we need to protect them. Like any other parent, irrespective of caste, creed, country, you want to protect your children. And
so your child's at the right maturity level to use the apps for the right reasons.
Absolutely. So my 5-year-old can download an app easily from iTunes. Right? I don't give him my password, but he can do that. And because they are exposed to so much technology, there has to be someone who helps parents to protect them.
How old is the company? How many versions are you in, and how are you funded? You're based in Dubai. I want to talk about that in a second, but let's just cover the basics. So how long have you been around, and how are you funded?
Okay. We've been around. We started developing in January 2014. We incorporated our company in April 2014. So we are just 3 months young. We started the process saying that the need is pretty only Indian, but in our process we realized the need is global. So we've started marketing a bit in India. We got 5,000 parents who've signed up with us. We also work very closely with telecom service providers. So we have an active contract in Nigeria and one in Saudi Arabia, where we are white labeling the entire solution for telecom service providers to sell it further. And we're 3 months young, 5,000 users, 2 contracts, hopefully more to come.
What are your objectives here at Web Summit?
One of the major objectives is that we're looking to raise funds to really scale our operations, make it like a very big, phenomena. We're trying to build up an open platform for digital security, because our end vision is this: 1 billion kids to be digitally secure, ASAP.
I love it. Tell me, what is in closing, what is the ecosystem like in Dubai? I'm going to be there in a couple of weeks myself, but what's it like for startups in Dubai? I'm hearing it's getting better.
Yeah, absolutely. See, from an ecosystem and infrastructure perspective, Dubai is probably the fastest growing in terms of, you know, providing the right infrastructure and right facilities. Having said that, there is still, you know, it's an emerging market. It has to still reach to a maturity of US, but I think we are in the right track. We are led with the right vision of the country. Very supportive people. The multicultural dynamics of Dubai gives us a lot of help in terms of testing products, knowing how it is, you know, getting a feeler from different nationalities, different creeds. So that seems to be very, very helpful, and there's a lot of support. Yes.
And how have you found Web Summit? 22,000 people, biggest event in Europe. How's it been for you overall in terms of coming here?
This has been actually fascinating, and it's been a very big learning experience. Whether it be co-presenters, fantastic sessions, workshops, access to investors. It's been a very, very good session for us. We look forward to it, maybe next year or a year after next, where we go and further expand. So because the vision of Nischint is not only kids, we are doing something very, very path-breaking for women. Women's safety in countries where we come from. Southeast Asia is a big issue, and we take that responsibility on to protect them as well.
Amazing, I love it. I appreciate the hustle of your team for capturing me at the Google stand and grabbing me and saying, come and check out what we've got. It's really interesting. I'm going to post some links in the YouTube notes underneath and on the blog, MediaTechSocial.com. Of course, if you want to check out all the videos from Web Summit 2014 for all the big 2015 trends which we've covered here today, then make sure you subscribe to youtube.com/MediaTechSocial. Thank you so much, Raghav, and stay tuned.